In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, nestled deep within a valley shrouded in mist, lies the cursed town of Ravenswood. Once a bustling community, filled with the laughter of children and the chatter of townsfolk going about their daily lives, Ravenswood now stands as a silent testament to the horrors that lurk in the shadows. Legend has it that Ravenswood's downfall began on a night much like any other. The townspeople had gathered in the town square to celebrate the harvest festival, a tradition that had been passed down for generations. As the moon rose high in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the festivities, a sense of unease began to settle over the crowd. It started with a soft whisper, barely audible over the sound of the music and laughter. At first, the townspeople dismissed it as the wind playing tricks on their ears. But as the night wore on, the whisper grew louder, more insistent, until it seemed to be coming from all around them. Then, without warning, the ground began to shake. At first, it was just a slight tremor, barely noticeable. But as the shaking intensified, panic gripped the crowd. People screamed and ran in every direction, desperate to escape whatever unseen force was tearing the town apart. Buildings crumbled to the ground, their once sturdy walls reduced to rubble. Trees twisted and contorted, their branches lashing out like the arms of a vengeful spirit. In the chaos, families were torn apart, separated by the relentless onslaught of destruction. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the shaking stopped. The town lay in ruins, its streets littered with debris, and the echoes of its former inhabitants' cries haunting the air. Ravenswood had been forever changed, its once vibrant spirit crushed beneath the weight of an unspeakable curse. And in the days that followed the devastation, those who had survived attempted to rebuild. But no matter how hard they worked, no matter how much they tried to forget, the curse of Ravenswood would not be ignored. Strange things began to happen in the town. Shadows moved of their own accord, twisting and contorting in unnatural ways. Whispers could be heard in the dead of night, voices speaking words that chilled the blood and sent shivers down the spine. People began to disappear, their bodies never to be found. Some said they had simply fled, unable to bear the weight of the curse any longer. But others whispered of darker truths, of creatures that lurked in the shadows, waiting to drag their victims down into the depths of despair. As the years passed, Ravenswood became a place of fear and superstition. Travelers would avoid it at all costs, warned away by tales of the curse that had befallen the town. Those who dared to venture too close spoke of a palpable sense of dread that hung in the air, as if the very land itself was cursed. And so Ravenswood remained abandoned, its once proud buildings now nothing more than hollow shells. Nature had reclaimed much of the town, its streets overgrown with weeds and its buildings slowly crumbling into ruin. But despite the passage of time, the curse of Ravenswood endures. To this day, those who are brave enough to venture into the town speak of a presence that lingers in the air, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. And on quiet nights, when the moon is full and the wind whispers through the trees, the echoes of the town's tragic past can still be heard, a haunting reminder of the horrors that once befell the cursed town of Ravenswood. As the years turned into decades, Ravenswood became more than just a town. It became a legend, a cautionary tale told to children to keep them from straying too far from home. But for those who had lived through the curse, Ravenswood was a nightmare that refused to fade into memory. One such survivor was Sarah Winters, a young woman who had lost everything the night Ravenswood fell. Her family had been among the first to disappear, their fate a mystery that haunted her every waking moment. Despite the warnings of others, Sarah could not stay away from Ravenswood. She felt drawn to the town, as if some unseen force was calling out to her, beckoning her to uncover the truth behind the curse. One moonlit night, Sarah ventured into the heart of Ravenswood, determined to unravel its dark secrets. As she walked through the deserted streets, the air grew thick with the weight of the curse. Shadows danced around her, whispering words of warning that sent a chill down her spine. Ignoring her fear, Sarah pressed on, guided by a strange intuition that led her to the town's abandoned church. The doors creaked open at her touch, revealing a scene of utter desolation inside. The pews were overturned, the altar lay in ruins, and the walls were covered in cryptic symbols that seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. As Sarah explored further, she discovered a hidden passage beneath the church, leading down into the darkness below. Without hesitation, she descended into the depths, her heart pounding in her chest as she confronted the source of the curse that had plagued Ravenswood for so long. In the bowels of the earth, Sarah found herself face to face with a being of pure darkness, its form shifting and changing like smoke in the wind. It spoke to her in a voice that echoed with the pain and suffering of 1,000 lost souls, revealing the true nature of the curse that had befallen Ravenswood. The being told Sarah of a pact made long ago, a pact that had bound the town to its fate for eternity. In exchange for wealth and prosperity, the town's founders had offered up their souls to a dark entity, condemning themselves and their descendants to a life of torment and despair. But Sarah refused to accept this fate. With a strength born of desperation, she confronted the being, demanding that it release Ravenswood from its grip. For a moment it seemed as if the darkness would consume her, but then, with a deafening roar, the being vanished, leaving behind only an echoing silence. For more scary and horror stories, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.